This video was created for the Small Business Resiliency Network's EmpowerED series to assist SBRN partners in their efforts to help businesses get their unique entity ID or UEI. PDF copies of the slides from this video, along with other resources, are available on the SBRN Box Share Drive. What is a unique entity ID? As of April 2022, all entities receiving federal funds via contracts, grants, loans, etc. must have a UEI. Prior to April, the DUNS number was used to track this information. A UEI is a unique 12-character alphanumeric ID assigned by the U.S. government via the System for Award Management, or SAM.gov portal. Since current funding for the SBRN Credit Building Pilot Program comes from the federal government, a UEI is required for this loan program. A UEI is assigned, managed, and owned by the federal government. Getting a unique entity ID is free. Please make sure that your clients are always using .gov sites. There are other sites out there that list and assist with UEIs for a fee, so be very careful. The process validates the entity name and address. If SAM.gov is unable to locate an entity, a new record is created in its database. A few tips for assisting business owners. We recommend either meeting with your business owners in person or having them share their screens with you virtually to go through the process. This is especially helpful if they have language challenges or computer challenges. For setting up their account, they will need an email address and a mobile phone. The information required for the UEI only process is a legal business name or first and last name for sole proprietors, physical address, start date, and state of incorporation. We recommend that you look up the business's profile on the Washington Secretary of State, sos.wa.gov, or the Department of Revenue, dor.wa.gov sites prior to assisting them and having it available as you go through the process. To begin, go to sam.gov. Acknowledge the updates to sam.gov. Click on Do Not Show This Message Again and hit OK. You'll then be taken to this screen where you'll click the Get Started to register the entity to get a unique entity ID. This window will then appear, and click on the Get Started button again on this new window. Review and accept the terms to sign into sam.gov. In order to sign into sam.gov, the organization must first set up a login.gov account. On this window, they should click Create an Account. They'll then need to enter their email address and select the language preference they have for receiving communications from login.gov. The choices are English, Spanish, and French. Check to accept the login.gov rules of usage and hit Submit. They'll then be notified that an email has been sent to their address with a link to confirm. Have them log into their email address, look for the email from login.gov, and click on the Confirm Email button in that email. Now they'll need to set up a strong password for login.gov. Please note that this must be 12 characters or longer. The system doesn't always give you an error message as to why the password is not being accepted, so always remember, have them enter 12 characters for their password and hit Continue. They'll then be asked to accept the login.gov rules of use. Check this box to accept it and hit Continue. Next, they'll set up authentication for login.gov. Have them select text or voice message and hit Continue. The window on the right then will appear where they'll add a mobile phone number. We recommend they hit text message, SMS, and hit Send Code. When asked to set up a second authentication, if given the option to skip for now or continue, we recommend they do so. This is a fairly complex process, and we don't want to make it even more challenging for them to access their account in the future. This window will come up where they'll have an opportunity to review their login.gov account information. In some cases, they'll have this option to continue to sam.gov. If they don't have the option on this window, they'll need to go and manually open up sam.gov in a separate browser. From sam.gov, they'll click Sign In on the top right-hand corner. They'll then go through the login.gov process to sign in, entering their email and password and clicking the button Sign In. They'll then receive a one-time code validation that will be sent a 6-digit code to their mobile number on file. They'll input that number here and hit Submit. Now they'll be asked to review the updated terms of use. This is scroll to the bottom of this page, check on the I agree to the SAM.gov terms of use, and hit Submit. A one-time password will be sent to the email on file. They should go to their email, find the password, enter it here, and hit Submit. Now they'll be asked to enter their contact information to set up their profile in SAM.gov. They should enter their first and last name and email address and business mode if they choose to, although it is optional, and hit Submit. A screen will then come up with a requested role for different areas of information in SAM.gov. They should click Skip and Finish. The roles requested are most relevant for those completing a full registration in SAM.gov. They'll then be taken to their workspace window where they will click on the Get Started button noted here on the screen. Please note, we've gone through over 20 screens to date, and now they're just now going to be able to get started to get their UEI. So the support you can provide is very much needed. It requires some patience to take businesses through it, and you'll become more familiar as you work with your clients in your communities. A welcome screen will come up. Click on the Create New Entity. This will generate a series of questions to determine what type of registration is needed in SAM.gov. The first question is, what is your goal? And I want to do business with, and they should select option 2, with a business or organization receives funds directly from the U.S. federal government, and hit Next. The screen will automatically expand. Review the answer that best fits intention. In this case, they should select option 4, apply as a grantee for federal funds distributed by a government entity other than the federal government. And this is the option that best fits the SBRN Credit Building Pilot Program. They'll then hit Next. The next window will ask who required your entity to be in SAM.gov, and they should select U.S. state or territory government or office. From the drop-down window, they can start typing in Washington and select Washington, or select it as they scroll down, and hit Next. This window, the system will then have determined and recommend the business get a unique entity ID only. This will require an entity search. It's noted because they will be receiving federal funds. They'll need to validate their entity, but it is the level of effort is at its lowest. So they should go to the bottom of the screen and hit Select. Now they'll start entering their entity information. They'll enter their legal business name. DBA is optional. If they have one on record, they may enter it. If not, I recommend they leave it blank. They'll then enter their physical address. Again, PO boxes are not accepted. They must have a physical address, starting with their country, their street address, and their zip code. The city and state fields will automatically be filled from the zip code that was entered, and they'll hit Next. The system will then start a validation process, and this blank screen will appear for a few seconds as the system searches for a match. This screen will come up as part of the validation process. The business will be asked if they can provide official documentation to prove the information they input earlier. They should select I can provide official documentation if necessary, and hit Next. The search for the entity will continue. The database, we're unsure what database the consultant that manages the SAM.gov site uses. There are far more records in it than when they first started in April 2022, so we're seeing more matches. But if a company does not match, it doesn't mean that anything is wrong. It just means the database needs to be updated with their contact information. So this list will then appear, and they have two options. They can select I recognize my entity in the legal entities list, or I don't recognize my entity in this list. We're now going to review if they find a match from the list of entities displayed. They should select I recognize my entity in the legal entities list and select the listing that best matches their company. Then hit next. They'll have an opportunity to review if all of their information and details are correct. They can hit yes, all details are correct. Or if there's a suite number missing or some information is invalid, they can click no, some details are incorrect, and they'll be taken to another screen to provide validation and information to update the database. We're going to be reviewing that in another video. Let's assume all details are correct, and they'll hit next. They may be asked to enter their incorporation information, which is their start year. Please reference the profile listings from the Department of Revenue or Secretary of State to come up with the year started that's listed there. Select the state they were incorporated and hit next. Another screen will come up to confirm the information now includes their start year and the state of incorporation. If everything looks correct, they should hit next. They now have an opportunity to request their unique entity ID. They should click on the box to include their listing in a public search. This is the automatic, this will come up as a default when the screen appears and is required so GoWest can access and review and confirm their UEI number as part of the loan process. Next, they'll need to certify they are authorized to conduct transactions on behalf of their entity, and they'll hit the Receive Unique Entity ID. Success. Their unique entity ID will then appear. It'll also be sent to them in email. We recommend that they print a copy and file with their key documents. They can always log into SAM.gov and view their UEI in their workspace. However, can be somewhat cumbersome even just logging into SAM.gov. So having a hard copy or saving a copy on their phone is very much recommended. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to outreach. Our email and contact information is provided here. Know that as you go through this process and help organizations, it does become easier. The good news is that more companies are getting a match when they apply to get their UEI only. And SAM.gov, the system no longer is receiving updates. So we are in a system that is now matured to the point that they don't make many updates to the system. And this video will hopefully be a good reference for the perpetuity of the loan program that you're working on. Thank you.